What's poppin', y'all? In 2014, 2015, Young Thug was by any means necessary, a term popularized by Malcolm X of the Nation of Islam, but he adopted it to music and he was going to get lit no matter what. Young Thug had already been making music for a couple of years, releasing I Came From Nothing mixtapes, and then it was until 2014, 2015 where he started painting his nails, wearing dresses, having all these weird piercings, especially at the time for hip-hop, and now he's got the second coming of him, who he has co-signed, that's doing the exact same play all over again, and frankly, I love it. I love every bit of it. So the artist in question is Nine Vicious. This guy, I got put onto him from an album cover. So he's been in the game for a little bit, maybe like a couple of years now, in that new Atlanta Underground, which the Atlanta Underground has a pretty interesting like set of new acts that I'm messing with personally. And it just goes to show that Atlanta is an area where the amount of talent that's coming out of there, and I think also the industry connections and them not willing to gatekeep perhaps like other regions allows them to flourish, and their sound travels further. Like for example, when South Florida had their own era, that came and went rather quickly, and some stars emerged from it, and yeah, that was really it. But Atlanta, it's been persisting for like 20 years now almost. Like you got Ludacris and T.I. way back in the day, and then now. But the album cover that I'm talking about is for his debut album, project, whatever you want to call it, Tumblr Music, and it was a rendition of the Tupac All Eyes on Me cover. Now the reason why I say this is an interesting, not only cover, like he's got a song called Machiavelli on there, he's got Spider, he's got Hit 'Em Up. Spider is a shout out to Young Thug's clothing brand, also King Spider, Young Thug, he's coming back out with an album. But Tumblr Music is also like, yo, people don't even use Tumblr anymore, but this guy, he's tugging on that nostalgia, he's got the aesthetic, he looks just like Young Thug, he's got the same exact piercings as Young Thug, and this is also creates a lot of controversy because people are like, yo, this guy wasn't even alive when Tupac died, and he's, jacking this Tupac album cover, but this is a legendary album cover, and it got him a ton of attention. Like, it got me to recognize who this guy was, or to actually check him out. Now, I did listen to a couple of songs, and he had two big songs. It was You Fancy that Young Thug first shouted out. He publicly quoted the lyrics. I think it was on an IG story, and he co-signed him, and he's signed to YSL right now. So if you check that album, Tumblr Music, that is via YSL. I don't know if it actually shows, but he's YSL. You're not getting these cosigns if you're not. After that, though, he's also got the dreads as well, but the song FNN, you can really hear that he sounds just like Young Thug. More of a polished version of Young Thug, and Young Thug gave this guy the perfect formula because he put out a snippet where he dissed Uzi. And he says, dudes falling off like they Uzi. And then that starts spreading everywhere on all of these pages. And then what happens next? All these pages post, Nine Vicious clarifies Lil Uzi diss. And he said, I said groupie. They falling off like they groupies. And then I quote tweeted this and I said, Nine Vicious is following the exact same playbook that Young Thug ran to blow up in 2014-15, and it's working. And this is the biggest cap ever because he gets to diss Uzi. He gets to get all the promo from dissing Uzi, and then he says groupies. What does that even make sense? Falling off like they groupies? How does a groupie fall off? They're never even on. It's just a nonsense bar. And Young Thug's got his own amount of nonsense bars, so perhaps that's something that Nine Vicious adopted from Thug. But come on, man. He came at Uzi. And it also is reminiscent of the time when Young Thug was trying to get the attention of Lil Wayne, and he had an album cover, or he had a project that he was saying, yo, I'm gonna drop the Carter 6, and then eventually he got hit with the, hey, you're not dropping no Carter 6, so he changed it to the Barter 6 for Believeland Ave. He's a big old blood, or was a big old blood, or allegedly, or they just like to use B's if you go by whatever was going on during that YSL case. But he was someone that was heavily inspired by Lil Wayne, especially if you listen to I Came From Nothing mixtapes. You gotta check those out. I know like maybe the younger generation, because that stuff's not on Spotify and you're used to stuff being on there, just look it up on YouTube. It should be on there. But I Came From Nothing, you could really hear the Wayne influence on Young Thug. The thing is, Young Thug tried to put his own spin on it rather quickly, whereas a lot of these guys, they just sound like Thug. Gunna, for example, he switched it up. Gunna never, except for OOK, everybody sounded like Young Thug on that song. And then they all went their separate ways, and Lil Baby doesn't sound anything like Young Thug anymore. And same thing with Gunna. Gunna, realistically, he's been dropping better music than Young Thug for the past 4 years, I would say. But this Nine Vicious guy, I like that Young Thug is pushing him, and also it just goes to show that he's getting the same fan base as Young Thug because they don't care what he's on or what he's doing. Because one of the biggest controversies he had this year was him communicating in let's just say he would get caught up in a Gideon video. Maybe not in person, but digitally. He was communicating explicitly with a chick that was underage. And then how does he address it? He just said, yo, I was tripping. My fault, y'all. I messed up. I admit I was horny. And they just let that rock and kept going. Is that an Atlanta thing? Because I feel like if this rapper was from anywhere else, they wouldn't have just let that rock just like that and let him keep pushing like nothing happened. But that's exactly what happened. And then he disses Uzi. And Uzi to this guy, Nine Vicious, is likely what, or to most of this generation, is what Lil Wayne was to a Young Thug. Now, it could be Future, Young Thug, or Uzi. But Future and Young Thug were already older for most of the audience. Like, Uzi was that. And Uzi just didn't sound like any of these guys either. So to diss Uzi to come at Uzi, gets you a lot of attention with the type of fans that would like Nine Vicious. Because if you like Uzi music, especially like older, new Uzi, you're the type of person that would mess with this guy's music. And his music isn't terrible, but I wouldn't say it's good either. Like he's not one of the better artists that's coming out of Atlanta, that's for sure. But at the time, no, Young Thug was him. I'm pretending like I wasn't jacking Young Thug, pause, heavy. But the thing about these artists, one thing I like is that Young Thug has no insecurity when it comes to his artistry, his brand. He allows people that he messes with or that's underneath him to use his image and likeness and copy him in whatever way possible to succeed. Partially because he's benefiting off of it. Cardi has done something similar, although it's not as egregious with Cardi. Like, they're not getting the same piercings. They're distinct personalities. Like even a Ken Carson and Destroying Lonely, those guys are very different. Same thing with Homicide Gang. It's just that there's an overarching like aesthetic and brand that we have. Similar to what Gunna and Young Thug had, there was an overarching aesthetic brand, the slime, the snakes, the green, but they were two distinct artists. With Nine Vicious and Young Thug, it's almost as if Young Thug just had a baby and Nine Vicious is just carrying on. Like, I don't know, like Cell birthed somebody or something like that. Cell from Dragon Ball Z. So I'm interested to see how this develops and how far it can go. Maybe this is what Future should have done with Designer back in the day. But I mean, we don't even know what Designer is really up to right now. I think he's independent. He's just releasing, and he's going through his own stuff. But this guy's dropped consistently. He's dropped like 2-3 projects this year. People are jacking him. They are messing with him. He knows how to get attention. He's shameless about getting attention, which is something that a lot of artists are not. And it's an asset that should work in his favor, because if you're the type of artist that's like, man, I don't want to do that. That's lame. That's doing too much. And this guy's also painting his nails and like moving zesty as well. If you're not willing to do things that some artists would deem like, that's doing too much, I just want to make the music and let that rock, then you may not reach the heights of certain artists, or you may not blow up as quick. And I'm not saying that people gotta copy somebody else, really, word for word, bar for bar, piercing for piercing, like dread for dread. That's a different story entirely. But if you're signed to the guy, I guess it's cool. But I just wonder how this guy started. Like, was he always sounding like this? Is he going to develop? Because you can't just keep looking like that. Like, for example, there came a point in time when Young Thug got so poppin', he stopped addressing the Lil Wayne stuff. He stopped wearing dresses. He stopped doing the my boo, my lover thing, the gay thing. He stopped doing all of that. And he just morphed into the artist we know as Jeffrey. Like, post Jeffrey, I think Jeffrey was the last attempt at doing like this dress thing. And it was a bit of a fusion of like, hey, I'm wearing this really feminine, weird looking dress with lipstick on, to, oh, this is a tie-in between some like traditional, maybe like Japanese stuff, as well as still being a dress. But after that, we didn't see Thug in no dresses. So this guy hasn't worn a dress yet from what I've seen. But maybe when he gets popping and lit, he switches things up and he gets a new look. But if you blew up for the look that you've already had, changing that up is kind of, I don't know if that would work in your favor, because people mess with you for the whole package. Now, the thing is with Thug, people didn't mess with him because of the dress. Like, people were kind of like, yeah, I'm not really jacking that. But the music is hitting, and we found out about him via the dress. So we're just going to keep rocking with this. So Young Thug didn't have to shed anything that was holding him back. It was just like a stepping stool. Maybe like kind of like DaBaby wearing the diapers, but I don't even know if the diapers really blew up. They did. That incident, I think at South by Southwest, it did blow DaBaby up. I think he was like Baby Jesus at the time. But what really sent DaBaby to the next level was, of course, Baby on Baby. Are we going to give that a classic mixtape? That's the question for today. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. What you think about this Nine Vicious guy? Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.